In this video, we're going to go ahead and create a power-up that appears, two of them actually, a shield as you see displayed here on the screen, and then a double shot power-up that will also be dropped, and we're going to have them dropped randomly. As you can see, I got a second shield there. Haven't had any double shot power up drop. I was hoping for that, but that's alright. Let's get to work. Welcome to video 12. Now that our game automatically scales its difficulty and throws threats faster at us, we also have a main menu and the ability to pause if we need to take a break. It's time to implement some reward system. So we're going to create two for this game, a double shot for some extra firepower and a shield power up to absorb some incoming damage and give the player a chance to kind of save some of their lives. So let's get started. So first things first, let's create our power-ups. We're going to have two of them, but we're going to create one and then duplicate it and just make some adjustments to make things easier. So right click in your hierarchy. Let's go to 2D object, sprites. We'll choose a circle, name it double shot power-up. And then over here in our inspector, we have a sprite, our sprite render. We're going to go ahead and use our items that we have here. We click on the items folder. There's this power up. We're going to have to do some manipulation to it. So let's go ahead and change the pixels per unit to 32. Our filter mode, as usual, is going to be point no filter. Go ahead and press apply. And then this option here that says open sprite editor, press set. And then you're going to see a larger version of this. So right now our sprite is just one singular sprite, and we're going to need to divide it into 4 equal parts. Up here in the top left, if you click slice, there's an option that says automatic, and then grid by cell size is what we want. We'll go into the sprite editor in our platforming series, but for now, just know it is here and just kind of follow along with this. What we're going to do is with grid by cell size, we're going to take this default 64 by 64 grid and divide that by 4, and some quick mathing will tell you that that is 16 by 16 is what we need each individual sprite size to be, or cell size to be. So once you have 16 and 16 in the X and Y of the pixel size, go ahead and press slice, and then come over here and press apply, and now you'll see that all 4 are separated individually. Click back on your double shot power up. I'm just gonna use this top one here and drag that over on top of circle to switch it out. I also just realized that this is in our main menu, so that's a thing. We'll go ahead and let me just switch on over to our scene view, our sample scene. How do I want to do this? So what I'll do real quick is I'm just going to drag it over here to prefab so I can bring it back out. I'm going to delete the double shot power up from the main menu. I'm going to open up scenes, sample scene, press save, so we don't lose any of that work from the last video. And then in prefabs, I'm going to drag this double shot back out. That way you can see it. We're going to go ahead and zero that out and zoom in on it so it's in our game view. And what we need to do here though is we can close up the sprite render. We don't need that anymore. We can add component. We're going to add a circle collider. If we open that up, we can select is trigger. We're also going to add a rigid body 2D component, and for body type we're going to choose kinematic. Let's see. Let's go ahead and add our scripts to it. So right click on our scripts, right click, create, go to mono behavior script and type in the name power up for the script. We can drag that onto our so we can go ahead and drag that power up onto our double shot power up, and then since we had to make that a prefab earlier because I was building it on my main menu screen for some reason, if you look over here in our inspector, there's this section that's called overrides, and any changes you make to a prefab in scene, you'll have, if you want it to carry it over, you'll have to override the current prefab saved file. So Unity gives you this overrides function, so you can, or option, so you can click on that, see the changes that were made, and either go back to the original or apply it. In this case, we're going to press apply all. I'm also going to click on double shot power up and just duplicate it. I'm going to change the name to shield power up, and the only change we're going to make to it before we make this its own prefab is here in the sprite render. We're going to change this power up 0, so click on items and just drag this. We have power up 0, power up 1, power up 2. I'm going to use, or sorry, yeah, power up 2. So I'm going to drag power up 2 over that to there, and you'll see if I move it over, it changes it. So that's what we want. So I'm going to now drag this shield power up and make that a prefab. It's going to ask you, do you want to create a new original prefab or a variant of the existing? We shouldn't have a shield prefab power up. I thought I yeah, we don't have one. So it's just asking if you want to create a new one. I think it's because we duplicated double shot, and that's what it's asking. So prefab, choose original prefab if you get this box, and then it's going to create your own shield prefab. So go ahead and press Control S. Let's open up our power up script and get to coding. Alright, now that our code is up, let's go ahead and add in our code snippets. So the first thing is we're going to need to declare some variables. We're going to use a float for the speed. We're going to use an integer for the power up ID. I have the comments up here that just tells me or reminds me what our power ups are going to do. I would recommend updating this if you choose to make your own power ups through your own experimentation. In our update, it's going to be very simple, just like with the laser shot. It's going to move down in time in the space. The only difference, then it's also going to, once it gets below -6f on the y, it's going to destroy itself. So let's go ahead and press save for now. Something I did forget is we need to create tags for our power ups. I don't think we've done that yet. So if we click on our prefabs, and we'll see that they're untagged. So we can just select tag, come down here to add tag, press this plus sign, create a power up tag, press save, and then tag our prefabs. So click on double shot, add that, click on shield, add that, and it should update these, and it does. So those are updated. That's good. Excuse me. Next thing we need to do is code up the double shot mechanic. So we need to open up our player controller script. So let's go to scripts, player controller, and let's add so we're gonna add a new header and a new section. We're just gonna call this power up settings, and then first things first is gonna have this is the double shot active, a boolean, and we're gonna make it false by now. All right, let's scroll down to our update method. We're gonna find this firing logic, and I'm gonna replace a good bit of it And then so I'm just gonna copy over this code. Feel free to pause and update your code. But I'm gonna go ahead and explain what's going on. So the check is still the same. The fire rate and the time between next fire is still the same. And even the single center laser is the same. What I did is I put it all inside. I put the double shot. I added the double shot as a separate if check. So if double shot active is true, then we're actually going to have two lasers spawning from the same Y position from opposite X position. So one is going to be at 0.4 offset by 4 on the X to the right. The other is going to be offset by negative 0.4 on the X on the left. And then we're going to spawn the two lasers. And then if it's not, but if this check fails and it's not active, then it's just going to do the single laser. Let's see what's next. You know what? Let's go ahead and test it out. So obviously double shot is not true. So what should happen is I'm gonna go ahead and delete the shield power up for right now too. We'll add that in later. And I'm gonna delete the double shot power up as well, just for now. So what should happen is right now it's gonna fail the checks and it should just still shoot the single laser. There we go. That works just the way it should. So now let's code in to make double shot active equals true. That way it passes the check. So what we're going to do is let's go back to our player controller script. And down here at the bottom, we're just going to add a couple of new methods. And one of those is going to be an IE numerator. But as you can see, it's red. That means we need to come up here and come up here to our namespaces and say using system.collections to add that in. Go ahead and press save. That should remove that. So this first method is going to activate the double shot. It's going to switch it to true and then start this double shot coroutine. And then it's going to wait for a few seconds and then it's going to switch it to off. Just for right now. We'll probably increase the seconds. Maybe we'll make it to where, like, on a restart it gets it, but I wanted to leave it for time based right now because I didn't want to make it too easy. Maybe we'll do 10 seconds and then go from there. Alright, so when it comes to our shield, let's scroll up here to the top. How do we want to do this? We need to create some sort of visual of our shield. So, but first, let's go ahead and, since we have our script open, let's go ahead and just get that code going. So, in our power up settings, we're going to add in two new variables, a boolean to check if the shield is active, which by default is set to off, and a reference to a game object that we're going to call for now shield visual, which will hold the visual representation of our shield. We're going to need to check to see if our shield is active. So let's go down to our damage, and so right above here where the lives minus equals 1, we're actually going to check add a check to see if the shield is active. So we have this if statement to check if the shield is true. If it is, then we set it to false, and we set the active, the visual, then we hide the shield as well, and then we exit and run the rest of the code. Next, what we're going to do is come down here to the bottom again, and we're going to add a quick little method, custom method, and just to activate the shield. If the shield's activated, it's going to set it to true, and then it's going to set it's going to unhide the shield. So let's save that. Let's go back to Unity and build our shield, and then we'll finish up with the code. Alright, so in Unity we're going to go ahead and right click the player object. We're going to add the shield as a child of the player. So let's go to how do we want to do this? We'll do 2D object sprites. We're going to go to circle, and so now there's going to be that circle surrounding the player. We're going to go ahead and name it to shield visual. It's already surrounding the player, but if yours isn't, feel free to scale it up some. We're going to manipulate the sprite renderer component though. Let's go to color. We're going to change this to a blue color, something like that. We're going to adjust the opacity, something like that. Let's see how that looks in our game. Yeah, I like that. So we'll do that. Let's see, what else do we need to do? I think the only thing left to do is just disable it by default and hide it. So go ahead and press save, click on your player. We're going to need to do a couple things here. Let's take this shield visual, drag it over here into the slot here for shield visual. Come up here to our overrides and press apply all. If you want, you can double check, but it should update your player just fine. Everything is in there, we're good. And so let's go to our scripts, open up our power up script, as we got some updates to make to that. Alright, now that we got our items all built, we need to tie them all together. So in our power up script, we're going to actually just add this on trigger enter 2D. It's going to check to see if the tag is the player. If it is, it's going to find the component player, and then it's going to check to see what the power up ID is. And so it's either going to be a 0 or a 1. If it's a 0, it's going to activate the double shot. If it's a 1, it's going to activate the shield, and then it's going to destroy itself once it makes contact with the player. And then obviously if it doesn't, we have this, so it doesn't just float out into space forever and ever and ever. So before we update our spawn manager, let's go ahead and check these out. So let's go ahead and grab our prefabs, click on our double shot. We need to give it a power up ID that's 0. Our shield, we need to set that to 1. So we're going to drag them out one at a time. We'll start with our shield since we just selected it. Let's go ahead and press play, and when the player collects the shield, it should, and there's the shield. Let's see what happens when we get hit, and there we go. Now it went away. Something that I noticed just now, that it kept going and killed the player also, so maybe we should make the shield visual just a little bit larger. So let's go ahead and do that, and then apply those changes to the override, and let's see how that works. I just hit the whole player. I just realized that, so that does nothing for me. We want to just hide the shield visual, so there's that. Let's go back to this, and now let's try it again. So let's go ahead and get hit. Well, by the time I got shot afterwards, but it does work. So there's that. Let's go ahead and check out now. Let's just remove that and add our double shot power up. So what should happen here is it should give us the ability to shoot 2 shots once we collect it. And then there's the double shot. Eventually it's gonna run out. It should run out. 10 seconds is a lot longer. There it is. It finally ran out. So all that's working. So now let's open up our spawn manager and we'll start getting it ready to spawn. Alright, so in our spawnable objects variables, we're going to go ahead and just add an array this time called power up prefabs, and we're going to add a new coroutine to the start method. So right here at the bottom, it's going to say start coroutine spawn power up routine. It's red right now because we haven't defined it. That definition is coming up next. Down here underneath the asteroid spawner, whoops, I didn't mean to click on that reference. Just press enter underneath it, and there's the code for it. Go ahead and press Control S. So what it's going to do, it's going to wait for a random range of between 3 and 7 seconds, and then it's going to create this while loop. While spawning is set, stop spawning is set to false, then it's going to basically spawn it at a random range. It's going to choose between 10 and 15 seconds on when to drop the next one. And so everything else is pretty much the same except for this right here. This integer random power up, it's going to determine between 0 and the length of our prefab. So our power up prefabs is a length of 2. It's going to be 0, 1, or 2, 0 or 1, and then it's going to just drop them as it sees fit. Think of it like rolling a dice or flipping a coin, rather. There's only 2 sides to flipping the coin, right? So with all that set up, let's go ahead back into our Unity scene. We can then delete our power up from the scene, click on our spawn manager, and now we have the power up prefabs. We'll just add 2 because we have 2 prefabs. There is a shortcut way to add prefabs. We don't for arrays. We don't need that right now because there's only 2 of them, so I'm not going to worry about it. Just drag those in, and then if we press play, eventually we should start seeing power-ups being spawned. So let's play. And there's the double shot power-up, and then it works. Let's see, is it gonna just, let's see. I see, there's the shield. There's that. Oh, that time it didn't hit me, so let's crash into it. There we go. So shield size looks like it's pretty good now. So everything is working good and great. So in the next video, we'll probably actually go back to the UI. Actually, no, we're going to do the audio, and then we'll go back to the UI to finish that up with the options. So in the next video, we're going to start adding some audio, and then we'll finish up the options menu, and then we'll add some little explosions and small special effects, just because it looks pretty boring when the ships just disappear. So until then, keep learning, keep building. I'll see you in the next video.